This instructional video will address the barriers to flipped instruction. Christine and I often get in talking to other teachers or at presentations or workshops. Teachers often express to us their concerns about flipped instruction. Sometimes their concerns will prevent them from trying flipped instruction, but regardless, they're valid. And some teachers have experienced some of these barriers, and they'll come to us and ask us for solutions. So we thought we would take a second to address these barriers in an instructional video. The first barrier or concern teachers have is that students won't have the technology at home or the internet at home to actually watch the instructional video. So Christine and I have solved this problem by allowing students to use their phones. In our experience, a lot of our students have smartphones, which would allow them to watch a video on their phone. So in order to make this happen, students would scan a QR code that Christine or I would make, and that would be like their direct links to the video, and they could watch it on their phone. Some iPods have video capabilities, so students can do the exact same thing, scan a QR code with their iPod and watch the video right there on their iPod. We've had plenty of students use their iPads or their e-readers if they have an camera app that would allow them to scan a QR code, or if they have an internet browser, they can type in a tiny URL that'll take us to the instructional video. For students that don't have any of the above, we could save the instructional video on a flash drive that they could take home and watch on a computer. And for a student who doesn't have a computer, we could also burn the instructional video on a DVD because we found that most students have DVD players at home. Now, in this past year, the students Christine and I work with, they all have Chromebooks. So this hasn't been an issue for us. So we've been lucky that way. And we also, in the past, haven't had a need to send students home with videos on flash drives or DVDs. But those were always our backup plan in the event that students struggled with the capabilities or the internet at home. All right, another problem that teachers will often ask us about is, how will I know if the students actually watch the instructional video? And how Christine and I have solved this problem is by having students complete a Google reflection form. So the first few videos that we've had students watch, that was a concern that we had. So after they watched their video, we would have students fill out a Google form, similar to the form that you filled out on the first day of class, where we would ask students questions, some math questions. We might even have them type in some questions that they'd have to write a paragraph answer for. And then we always left a spot for students to ask us their own questions. And when we did this, we were using more of a traditional flip style where students would watch the video at home, which was really cool for us as teachers because we could open the reflection form on our end in the evening and we could see the form live as students were filling it out. So we could at 7, 8, or 9 o'clock at night see what students were filling out, what kind of questions they had. We could see what skills they were mastering, what skills they were struggling with. So the next day in class, we could really target, attack, and diagnose any problems that students were having. The other cool thing is if we noticed that the entire class had already mastered a skill, then we knew we didn't have to waste any class time in class going over a topic that have already mastered. Finally, the really neat thing about it was when we asked them to put down their specific questions, we could really target the students who had specific questions about the skill that was in the instructional video. Now, if a Google form isn't how you want to address that, you could always just have students show you their notes. So maybe they have to jot down some notes or write down some examples while they're watching their instructional video, and they could just show you those as they enter the room as their proof that they watched it. And then finally, there are some programs that allow you to monitor students watching their video. So this would tell you what students watched the video from beginning to end. It would allow you to put quizzes or questions, short answer, fill in the blank kind of questions in the middle of your quiz, in the middle of your video. And then as a teacher, you could monitor that to see, kind of like the Google reflection form, what students are understanding and what information students are still struggling with. If anybody's interested in any of these programs to monitor student progress, that would be an optional tech session that we could have on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Okay, another concern is that students won't actually watch the instructional video for homework. So they might come in with some notes jotted down, or they might come to class with something, but it's not the real in-depth meat that you really wanted students to get out of your lesson. And Christine and my response to teachers who always say this or ask this is, right now, do all of your students do all of your homework? Probably not. I mean, we all, as teachers, we all want to believe that every kid is doing every single assignment for us. So this really isn't going to be a new problem for you. Sure, you're going to have a couple kids that don't watch the video and they come to class unprepared, but like I said, this probably isn't going to be new. And it might be the same students that didn't complete your assignments before. But our experience tells us that if students are going to go home and watch a video, they're far more likely to press play on a video than they are to open up their notebook and write a paper or complete an assignment or do a worksheet. So in the end, this isn't going to add any extra problems to your classroom. I think some of those initial and underlying problems might still be there. This won't solve that problem, but like I said, Christine and I feel like you probably will have a higher homework completion rate if students are watching a video as opposed to doing some other type of project. In the event that students really are not watching their videos, maybe it's hit or miss, they didn't watch a video today, or maybe they're regularly not watching videos, some suggestions we have is maybe they have to sit at the back of the class while you're monitoring the rest of the room through their independent practice, and they have to watch the video. Or maybe they have to come to school early or stay a little bit late to watch the video. Perhaps there's some time during the day, like a study hall or a lunch or a home base, where they'll come to your room and watch the video. So while Christine and I believe flip instruction isn't magically going to make homework completion turn it into 100%, we do wholeheartedly believe that it will improve if students are watching their instructional videos. All right, those were our barriers to flip instruction that we wanted to address in this flip video. Hopefully you've gotten some ideas on workarounds for how to address these concerns in your future classroom. And most certainly, if you have some other concerns that weren't addressed, please bring them up in class.